Finally. Let's do this for real. Sorry it took so long. You know what these legal types are like? Yes, sir. No, sir. Here's 80 pages of needless jargon, sir. Anyway, believe it or not, this is my excited face. Come on, come on. Let me show you what we've got. So, all the usual stuff. Merchandising, likeness, blah, blah, blah. But the really juicy stuff is their expectation of you. They need you to challenge yourself all season, be the best you can be, dominate your teammate, become a legend. All that jazz. Now, it's over to you.
Okay, here we are. It's contract time. The team are expecting you to improve as your career evolves. And so am I. Here, we will be setting you a contractual target with the team, so that this progress can be tracked by both parties. Here, you can view your current ratings with your overall rating, or RTG, shown at the top. This is the value that will be used to set your contract target. In order to improve this, you'll need to show your worth at each race weekend. Your current rating has been used as a starting point. Move this slider to set your target for next season. A higher target requires consistently good results at each race weekend, but you'll get more recognition when you sign. Here, you can view your recognition with the team. The higher the target you set yourself, the more recognition you will earn when you sign. More recognition equals more car development. More car development makes car go fast. You know the drill. Remember, if you fail to meet that target, you will lose this recognition bonus, so don't bite off more than you can chew. You can see some basic information on the contract, as well as the number of seasons your contract will last. After this season concludes, you may be offered longer contracts, if the team thinks you deserve one. A longer contract will give another recognition bonus when you sign. There's a few other points for us to go over, but we can leave those until you're settled. I'll leave you to finalize your terms.
So, Piastri is tempted to call it a day on that gamble straight away. Do they come through or do they pit and bail out of it?
I tell you what, they've not recovered that car. Race control could choose to abort this entirely, which would let the McLarens off the hook.
They've got a long way to push that back still before they can find the gap in the fence.
Race control called for an extra formation lap. We go down to 69 laps. The drivers are moving into position, but we have marshals recovering the car.
It's not going to go, is it? They're not going to clear that with everyone now coming up to the grid. So
We're signed. That sounds awesome to say. Time to go crush that target. I'll see you soon.
They are recovering a car. Not ideal circumstances with unusual tyres on the McLarens in orange on row 2. The Silver Arrows of Mercedes on the slick tyres on the front row.
it's going to be nip and tuck if the race director wants to chance it here and see when they're all lined up if they can go with it. Long old wait. There we go. They're pushing it all the way to the back.
Quickly, before we gear up for the first race this season, a couple of things. Throughout your career, you'll get a lot of important information. Keep an eye on this tab between each race to see what you've been sent. We also have a wonderful team of specialists that will be dedicating some of their time to help us this season. When you have a moment, we should go and get introduced. They don't bite, I promise. Driver Details contains all the important information for your accolades, contracts, rivalries, and driver ratings. Keep an eye on it throughout the season.
Hi mate, Mark here. I'm your engineer for the season ahead, and I'm absolutely buzzing to be working with you. When you're ready, come and see me over in R&D and we can chat about the development of the car. See you soon.
Yeah, Lindblad's car just being pushed now into the pit lane, so the next time will be go. It's a short lap. You come pretty quickly at full speed in a Formula 1 car, so here we see Lindblad. Oh, what a shame for Arvid, who's had a great weekend and won't get to start this and won't get to learn what a Formula 1 car in these sort of conditions is like as well, so he'll kick that can down the road and a bit of heartbreak. What about the conditions then? I just think it cannot be intermediates. It cannot
Your specialists are a team of experts that will be working with us part-time to maximize your research and development within the team. They will offer you goals to complete each race weekend. Completing these goals will increase your relationship level with a specialist. When that level increases, you'll get perks that improve their area of R&D. You can see each specialist's title and current level here, as well as a message stating whether they have some goals available. Selecting a specialist will take you to a details screen where you can view their perks and goals. When you're ready, select an available specialist to see what they are offering you. Welcome to your contracts hub. Here, you'll be able to view your current contract and all the information relating to it. To start, you can see all the base information for your current contract, your target rating, your current rating, and more. In this main area, you'll find a graph that tracks your rating each race. It will also display your target, so you can see how far off you are. Obviously, we haven't raced yet, so there's no data. Be sure to come back and check this after each race weekend.
The softs won't fire up. And Piastri is really saying, no, look, it's not the right call. Let's at least start from the pit lane, but with the pack, because once they've got to make a pit stop, they'll lose 20 seconds and be way further back. But no blinking from McLaren. They stick to their guns, third and fourth, and they will just be hoping that their inters will last.
Okay, mate, let's chat R&D. Research and developments may be the most important aspect of F1, and you and I are going to work together to bring on the car's performance. This is where you'll be investing in upgrades. We have 4 areas of development. Here you can see an overview of the departments and how many upgrades are currently applied in each. Selecting one of these will take you to their respective tech trees. In order to develop upgrades, you'll have your very own resource point account, unique to you as a driver. Your teammate's going to have their own one too. Your current resource points can be viewed on your player card here, and points are earned passively each week. And the higher your recognition, the more points we'll give you. You can also earn points via practice programs, and, well, you know how much I love getting good data. Finally, this chart shows the performance you've extracted from each department based on the number of applied upgrades. You can also see the max potential for each department based on the remaining upgrades. Hopefully it helps you to see where we are and how far we can go.
Piastri has not been able to do what his teammate could. An amazing start for Lando Norris, who launches through. It's Antonelli in second, then it's Russell in third. Lewis Hamilton is P4.
Yeah, Piastri's gone backwards. Once again, he's lost the place to Hamilton, but Norris is on the intermediates. The softs, they're okay at this stage. They're still on the track, and they will only get better. So it's brilliant for Norris to lead. Oh, big lock up for Gasly further back. The slick tyres, they're coping.
Well, Lando Norris will be in serious struggle if it continues like this. Up 2 places for Norris. They're weaving like it's a formation lap. But this is the first lap for the Canadian Grand Prix. And it's Norris, Antonelli, Russell, Hamilton, Piastri, your top 5.
I just think it's going to be frustration for McLaren, because what they needed was everyone else just sliding around, locking up everywhere. You can see Antonelli's a little bit wide at the hairpin, but he's still within touching distance. We've heard there's no more rain, and so McLaren are going to have to pit literally in the next few laps. They're going to have to throw this away.
Here's a chance for Max Verstappen to improve to the top 5. Still Lando Norris leads, then it's Antonelli. And understandably, okay, Piastri bails out of it. He's not interested in the intermediate tyre anymore that our race leader is on. Max Verstappen goes up to 5th position. It's Lando Norris who leads, but he's on the wrong tyre.
Yeah, Piastri gets his wish, but he's going to lose so much time because of it. Inters for the Audis as well. They're in the same predicament. They had less to lose, didn't they, than the McLaren starting on the second row.
Oscar Piastri has gone on to the medium tyre, so they're just resetting. They've not gone for the hard, because that is hard to warm up as well. Fernando Alonso improves to 12th position. He is thriving in these conditions. Then it's Bortoletto, then it's Gasly, and Esteban Ocon is dropping down, despite the fact he's got the slick tyre on the car.
And at the front, Antonelli got ahead of Russell. I mean, how important could that be for the race? We're so busy looking at Norris, but Antonelli making a good start. And that could be the critical move for the race as well. He's now pressuring Norris, and will surely make mincemeat of the McLaren that's just going to be sliding around.
Overtake is enabled, and he will have all the ability of better traction. Remember, these slick tyres still needed firing up. Russell has an incredibly important couple of corners. Antonelli will be trying to clear Norris as quickly as possible, and it looks like he's going to do so as we head to the final chicane. It's time for another new race leader. Lando Norris has been called to the pit lane, and Kimi Antonelli will wait, and then he will fight his teammate for the win. McLaren gambled and it came undone. It is Antonelli, then Russell, then Hamilton for the lead in Canada. What a start to this one, and here comes Russell. He's trying to get alongside these two, about to go wheel to wheel once again. Antonelli stays ahead. Game on between the Silver Arrows.
Not a hope Russell was going to get around the outside there after their wheel-to-wheel contact yesterday. Antonelli trying to do the same thing, and I think George knew that. Had a look, but did not fully commit. In the pantheon of McLaren strategy gaffes, I think this is going to be a tough one for them. Norris rejoins 14th position. You said a medium tyre, so their only hope now is that anyone that started on a soft will have to do a two-stop, and they'll damage their soft tyres, and that could bring McLaren back in the long run. But it's difficult to see how anything's paid off for them.
Well, the intermediate gamble for those further back in the field as well is coming to an end. Bortoletto's been in to get rid of those tyres, so has Sainz, Hulkenberg. You can understand if your chance of points was tricky, but McLaren had a chance to fight for the Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton has been rejuvenated this weekend. He's in the fight once again. He's never won a Grand Prix for Ferrari. He's looked superb so far this weekend. Max Verstappen has the fastest lap. And remember, whilst McLaren were just plain on the wrong tyre, this is still super tricky for the best drivers in the world. The track temperature is 17, the air temperature is only 12.
And that's why we saw a big lock-up for Isaac Hadjar there at the hairpin. They've got to be careful. Even those top six on the soft, they don't destroy these tyres and end up in the same position as the McLarens and have to make an early pit stop to get off a badly flat-spotted tyre. So much still at play, so long still to go. We've already had decisive shuffles in this Grand Prix.
Colapinto and Lawson on a durable tyre in 7th and 8th. They can go longer than the soft tyres. Lando Norris locking up, going off in the left-hand side picture. He rejoins, but it's tough to fire it up.
Lando, we could be going very long here.
Well, don't do that then. Try and just move the tyre in. But again, red mist descends. You're thinking, my word, I was in the race lead. On a soft tyre, maybe I could have held it. We had pace yesterday and it's all gone. But this is a two-way decision. They had time on the grid. They had a good sort of half an hour on the grid to 20 minutes to chat with their engineer, to come up with a decision. The drivers had been round. They'd seen 13 corners of the circuit, and there's a feedback loop there as well. They speak to the race engineer, and collectively they come up with a decision. So they'd have been well plugged into that decision.
Pierre Gasly in 11th position. Make that 10th position. No, make that an aborted exit. Over the chicane. He's fighting Fernando Alonso. And Alonso in the points. Tricky conditions. All of his experience telling. Aston Martin haven't scored so far this year. Gasly is on the medium. Alonso is on the soft. That Aston Martin has been so tough in terms of one-lap pace.
Hello and a very warm welcome to a brand new season in Formula One. It's 2025. We've got a four-time world champion joining the grid. Do we have 4 teams in the championship? There's certainly been convergence over the winter months and plenty to look forward to before the huge regulation change in 2026. Now is all about free practice. Let's get straight into it in FP1.
Red Bull driver to have a lock-up. Didn't seem too bad for him, and he heads down the long straight. Russell in the wheel tracks of Antonelli. Not a massive surprise that Alonso's in the top 10. It feels like exactly those conditions where, I don't know, in 63 laps, somehow he's dragged an Aston Martin to a point. 7 cars have pitted already. That's a nice gain for those.
Okay, mate, this is the first running of the real car. Now, I know it's a big ask, but let's get some useful data and get you used to how the practice sessions work. Let's start the season as we mean to go on, eh? I know we could have a great year, so let's go.
To the race start. Norris is going to get the jump, but watch the Silver Arrows, because that's the consequential moment for the race lead.
Yeah, so Norris sweeps to the inside. It doesn't matter But in a way it does, because Russell has to back out early and cannot fight Antonelli because he's worried about having...
Don't push the car just yet. Track is still green. Try to take it easy for the first couple of laps.
Oscar Piastri is in. This is not quick for Piastri. What a difficult day for the man who finished third in the World Championship last year.
Was it a front wing check? Piastri tripped over Albon or something there. Looked like there was work going on the front of the car for Piastri.
Definitely feels like there's debris at the hairpin. We've got a wide shot of it. We'll bring you the replay as quickly as we can. Right, let's just check. Russell's still ahead of Antonelli.
Yeah, so snapshot. Did that call work out for McLaren at the start? Well, he's about to be lapped 14 laps into the race for Piastri, right down to the back of the field. And he must have had contact with Alex Albon.
George Russell leads by 0.7 of a second, swapping the lead again and again and again. These two both trying to win their first Formula One World Championship. Oscar Piastri and Alex Albon with contact. And Alex Albon had climbed at least 6 places, was in position to try and fight for points again. He scored some in Miami, his first since the Italian Grand Prix in September last year, trying to get that momentum going after a really tough time of it. And the driver used to winning Grand Prix has got to get out of the way.
Look at all the carbon fibre wide at the apex there. So you get off the racing line, you lock a wheel, there's more debris on the exit there, so they definitely tripped over each other.
Oh! We're getting half a replay on the left-hand side of your picture, and that was a late lunge that Alex Albon didn't see coming, and it ends a really difficult afternoon in terms of competitiveness for Oscar Piastri.
Yeah, I'd like to see that again. I mean, fairly poor what happened there, but he smoked it in and wasn't even trying to pass Albon. He was in the car in between them, and just found himself way later on the brakes and having to be on the inside and clattering into Albon. So unlucky for the Williams driver, who is popped up and out of the race.
It looked like a very large contact compared to what you'd see normally at the hairpin. We'll try and bring you that full screen if we can, because it's been decisive and it's led to a lot of debris at the hairpin. Race director does have the option of a virtual safety car if he so wishes. Definitely rain spots.
What an incredible practice session that was. But the fun doesn't stop here, though. Join us again as the rest of the weekend unfolds.
Maybe caught Piastri out, but again, we'll wait for a better view of what happened. In the meantime, do you want me to call another race lead? It might happen.
I mean, given how much these two are battling each other, it's possible. There's the debris that Jolie was mentioning on the right-hand side. It was a lock-up for George Russell, who was wide. Antonelli was through, and Russell undid the damage within a straight. Watch the main frame, and they're still 1 and 2. So a lock-up that George Russell was able to...
Let's get a few laps under our belt.
Second, 1.1 seconds outside of the overtake mode. Oh, Russell's right up to the wall, exit of 4. So they are both pushing right up to the limit and over the limit there for Russell. But it shows how much they're having to be on it just to play with that 1 second window that opened the door. Antonelli went through, and now it's well and truly on out front. I mean, George is going to do well to shake off Kimi.
understood. Stopping this lap.
Applying the pressure lap after lap after lap and getting the race lead. Russell, at a track that has been a stronghold, will be collecting his thoughts and will be assessing his Red Bull soft tyres. He has been passed on track fair and square by his teammate, who is staring 4 Grand Prix victories in a row in the face right now. That was Antonelli. It was one lock-up too many at the hairpin for Russell.
Yeah, he's placing his car where he needed to when it was wheel to wheel, but when he was just trying to get the car slowed down for the hairpin on his own, he kept finding that right front lock-up, and Antonelli would have seen that and just thought, if I can get closer, I'll make him brake later and harder just to make sure he protects his position. And finally, the pressure told too much. And what does Bono say? It's hammer time, Kimi, for the race leader now.
It's a 10-second time penalty for Oscar Piastri for clouting the side of Alex Albon's Williams. Albon is out of this Grand Prix. 2 retirements, 20 still running. 20. not dropping outside of the 1 second window. This one is not done yet.
Yeah, that's why Kimi's got to just fly right now, in exactly the same way as George tried to break that 1 second gap, to keep the 1 second margin. If you get there,
And going deep, and it's going to happen again. I can't believe the amount of lead changes that we've had today. Russell retakes the lead, but for how long? On the back straight we go. Antonelli versus Russell to 200 miles an hour, and Antonelli is coming back, but it's Russell with the inside line. Are they going to make contact? Antonelli has to bail out. Russell will claim it's his corner. And these two contenders are pushing each other over the edge.
well, contentious moment comes again. And it's another lock-up mistake from drivers that are pushing flat out for marginal gains. These are qualifying laps they're putting in to try and make that crucial 1 second gap. And he gets the call, give the position back. So Mercedes, Pete Bonington on the radio there, not thinking that Kimi had done enough to maintain position. And you're always going to be brave hanging it around the outside. I said it earlier on, it's not really a position where you can do that. Is he going to be tactical where he gives it up, though, for another chance to fight?
Why, mate? You pushed me off. I wasn't ahead. Like, what's the point?
I mean, I tend to think the racing guidelines might have sided with Kimi there. He was ahead turning into the apex on the outside, but Mercedes not liking what they're seeing and calling the shots themselves.
That Mercedes does not want to stop into the hairpin, but it is brilliant to see lap after lap, side-by-side action. Can I interest you in some more? Because we're heading to the final chicane, and it's a Russell ahead of Antonelli, but for how much longer? Russell millimetres away from his teammate. This is delirious racing in Formula One. These two contenders for Grand Prix victory for the title, separated by 0.3 of a second. George Russell leads ahead of his charging teenage teammate, and this is a sensational battle that means more than 25 points. This is for the momentum in the World Championship. Can Antonelli make it 4 in a row and beat Russell at a stronghold, or can Russell pass the most important test of his Formula One career so far?
It's statement stuff, isn't it? Will any of them blink properly? They're both making up.
Give me the position. I mean, it just for the race. I think that was just when I was getting to head down. So I'd like to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. He got the place back. It was a bit convenient, but then again, he was halfway around the outside. They're both blinking a little bit, aren't they? They're both giving opportunity to the other by pushing so hard. The stakes are so high. This is the making of a champion, you feel, in this race.
Well, often you get decisive days in Formula One. It usually comes towards the end of the year, but this just feels...
Sadly, it's time to say goodbye as free practice is over. However, we'll be back shortly for more Formula One action.
Keep having those moments of brinkmanship, and they might just open the door for Max Verstappen, who is adrift of this battle. But the contact has not been too far away. It wasn't too far away yesterday at the first turn. Fernando Alonso is being pushed back into the garage for Aston Martin.
Yeah, shame for Fernando after that. Promising early start, but another retirement for Aston. Verstappen's doing a good job in third place. If you're in the Red Bull garage, you're thinking, come on, Mercedes, just keep fighting, because surely they can't race like this for the entire Grand Prix. Surely at some point there'll be a lock-up, there'll be a moment of clumsiness, or someone being a little bit overzealous, like we saw with Lando Norris last year in the McLaren fight. And it's the sort of race where, for an hour and a half racing like this, something's got to give, you feel. Verstappen's 6 seconds back, willing it to happen. He'll have a view of it somewhere distantly down the straight at this part of the circuit. He's cleared away from Lewis Hamilton. Ferrari's 4th and 5th with Hadjar joining them. But we just want to watch this. Antonelli coming again.
210 miles an hour defensive move from Russell. And we're looking at the team radio button at Mercedes. It's not being used. We're keeping across all the radio messages. Turn 1, outside line. Antonelli's learned his lesson from yesterday. He knows his teammate would throw the shape, would throw the defensive move and would stay ahead. But he is making George Russell use all the race.
Yeah, well, he's trying to get inventive now as well. He knows from yesterday he's not going to come from a car length back on the outside of turn 1 and have a chance to make it through. George will get
And a warm welcome, everybody. We're here in the heart of Melbourne. It's Albert Park, and it's qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
Once again. So then Kimi's trying to get the late apex and a cut back for turn 3. It's too short a run there to really do anything unless George makes a mistake on the exit. So it all comes down to this part of the circuit. He's close again. The hairpin, the treacherous hairpin today. Russell's slowed it down better than Antonelli, who's a little adrift at the apex, and the gap goes up there. But in those early points, they did the dress rehearsal, didn't they? Without the sprint, I'm sure Kimi might have tried him on the outside. He might have gone for it. He knows it's not going to happen.
Might do the latter stages. Thinks about a nibble to the inside. Also will be, at this stage, thinking about where those soft tyres are. George Russell's reporting a little bit of grading. I wonder where he's having to push as hard as he has been so far in this contest. Very sharp with the rotation. At turns 1 and 2. Then 3 and 4 is a chicane. We're heading to it right now. There's Russell. A little bit downhill, only 5 metres elevation change around the circuit. Let's put it out through here. And a slightly longer chicane ahead.
You can see a bit of grading actually in the left front for Russell. And the tyres opening up, you see a darker strip on the inside shoulder. That's your contact patch of the left front tyre. You can see it here as he's coming towards us. Antonelli's tyre's looking better condition, so George leaning on it more, and it actually is looking worse and worse there for George Russell. So that's why Antonelli's able to stay this close for this long and keep the pressure on. It's the right front he's been locking, of course. You see there on the left side, a darker patch of rubber. That's not going to be feeling nice for him.
No one looks comfortable into that hairpin. Russell, taking the apex the way that he wants. He's going to, by this Grand Prix standards, enormously 7 tenths of a second. Comes to the final chicane once again. Past the wall of champions. And Russell leading Antonelli. Antonelli just hovering there the entire time. Great hope for Italy. Morning Bologna, Kimi Antonelli, elevated through the junior ranks this season, week in, week out, showing us why. Given race-winning machinery, he has been electric so far this year. Also trying to get the gap down to 11 points in the World Championship, 25 for a win, 18 in second place.
Feels like it is uncharted territory for Formula 1. To have drivers able to stay this close for this long, we've seen many of
We have Verstappen in second now.
Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Finds himself in fourth. Leclerc is in fifth place.
Yeah, had to jump Leclerc then. So we had to stack behind Hamilton. They were quite close to the two Ferraris, so that's cost them. Surprisingly, didn't get a full safety car with the position there. Still George parked the car.
Still could. Marshall's on the track at turn 9.
Now they are wheeling it off, so still a shake of the head. Everything runs through your mind at this part. You just think, no, how can it be?
Let's listen on board with the then race leader.
PU's gone. Total shutdown.
And the unfastening clip thrown, the headrest goes as well. The adrenaline still pumping, the fury writ large with that moment. That could be so important for the destiny of the World Championship. And we have overtaken Able once again. We have the green flag flying once again. Around the circuit Villeneuve in Montreal. Kimi Antonelli is the leader by 5.4 seconds. He's got rid of the soft tyres. He's put on the medium. It's Verstappen up to second. Hamilton up to third. Isaac Hadjar runs in fourth. Would be his best result since he stood on the podium in Zandvoort. Mentioned Zandvoort a moment ago. Charles Leclerc in fifth. Frankie Qualifito's gone for the medium tyre to the hard tyre, so he's aiming for a one stop. Liam Lawson is on the soft tyre, so he's trying something different. And then it's Gasly, Norris and Sainz, those who occupy the top 10.
And how McLaren could have done with a full safety car and not a VSC there. Justified in the fact that they could clear Russell's car pretty quickly, actually. A couple of laps behind the VSC, but McLaren there, with a full safety car, would have joined the back of the pack, which in the pace of their car being pretty handy, and there's a podium opportunity if they could have been there. Especially now, you've lost one of the leading contenders, one of the Mercedes, so Verstappen's up for second. Hamilton's looking again at a podium in third position, and still frustration for McLaren on this day that is not yet going back to them, but it's a long way to go. We're in Montreal, so they could yet be a full safety car.
Kimi Antonelli struggling to generate that tyre temperature. Gap coming down between first and second. Last time around it was a 19.2 for Antonelli, it was an 18.3 for Max Verstappen, and you saw him weaving around, trying to generate that tyre temperature before he got to the final chicane.
He has had the benefit of the buffer though, hasn't he? And he is in the faster car when he gets these tyres fired up, but then again, it's Max Verstappen behind, knows how to win races. It's from seemingly nowhere. He is very capable of delivering this one as well, so it's not absolutely done. Antonelli's just got to get these mediums fired up. But you do feel like his main rival is standing on the side of the track down there.
The steward saying that Russell will be investigated after the race. That'll be for the way he got out of. He'll get over it. I thought you'd say that. The Ron was shot by Leclerc, who finds himself in 5th place.
It's passionate sport, isn't it? Throwing the headrest onto the track, not great. There's a VSC, anyone can scoop it up, and it is, it's in a decisive moment in a championship chasing year for George Russell.
Just want to underline why we're saying that as well. If you're one of our newer viewers, this is the battle for 4th place at the moment. We're saying that because it's a George Russell stronghold. Whoa, don't do that! That is huge speed! My word, that was defensive driving from Isaac Hadjar and Charles Leclerc. They're committed to a gap that was disappearing.
Yeah, but I think it was disappearing from a way out there, and Charles was sort of going to the inside, but it was always closing. I don't think there was any late or too abrupt move there for Hadjar.
Wow, that caught me by surprise, I have to say.
I was expecting it to be more of a drive by, and I think it could have been if he'd gone the other way, but yeah, he went for it and then realised, oh no, hang on, shouldn't have been there.
Okay, that was nearly a 2-point.
Yes, it was. My word, huge speed being carried down to the final 2 corners on the racetrack. Yeah, just to underline that point, of all the times to make a championship point, when had a battle between these two. Let's have another look then. This is trackside, we're on board at the time.
So Hadjar checks the mirrors. He is going to start derating, so you'll see the red line at the back start going. That shows he's losing now electrical power from the battery, losing the energy, moves towards the inside. The stewards will have a look at it to see if it was a big reactive move. As we're riding on board, it looked like there was enough distance between the two that Charles might have seen that one coming though and not continued to go for the inside.
Hadjar looking for a strong result today. The driver 13th at the start of today before the lights went out. Took a while to get to lights out earlier on. A couple of laps off the tally.
The winter is over. It's time for Formula One 2025. Yes, that long break that you've all been coping with so well can now be put to the back of your minds. It's on-track action and it's off-track drama. That's what we're looking forward to. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Day completes the front row. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Norris, Piastri, Esteban Ocon, and Hamilton. Tsunoda, Russell, Sainz, and Liam Lawson. Fernando Alonso, Behrman, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, and Albon, Hulkenberg, Gasly, Lance Stroll, and Gabriel Bortoleto. Hadjar and Franco Colapinto rounds off the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track. So I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about this afternoon, and who's going to talk about it with us? None other than Naomi Schiff. Hi, Naomi. As much as I like testing, and I do love testing, and I've really enjoyed the build-up here and all the speculation, I really want to see some action. And finally today, we get some proper action on the track.
This is always such an exciting time in the season. First of all, it's the first time they'll be racing their new cars, so that's always an exciting thing for drivers to look forward to. But also, they've had a long time off during the winter break, so it's about dusting the cobwebs off, getting the rust off of their bones, and really getting their elbows out there and having some fun.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
There'll be no way through without defensive driving from Hadjar, and there's no going around the outside into 13.
He might have a chance here. He could put the second apex really nicely. He's in the wheel tracks once again.
Looking for the inside line, Hadjar knows it, occupies that part of the racetrack, and he will be brave. If he tries to go the long way round, there's no grip on the racing line this weekend, Charles, let alone the long way round of turn 2, and he is putting the pressure on Hadjar, who's in his second season in Formula 1.
Hadjar dealing with it pretty well right now. It's so difficult to pass at the final turn unless
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Okay, so we're leading our teammate by 19.4 seconds. That was the fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. You're in first position, front of the pack. Verstappen behind you now. They're on fresh softs. 16 laps now until your pit window opens. No need to worry about the tyre condition for now, everything's looking good. Laps now until your pit window opens. Okay, we can take you this lap. Right, let's have you in at the end of this lap, please. Pitting this lap then. Come into the pits at the end of this lap. Confirmed, we'll receive you at the end of this lap.
Positions.
Up to speed now, let's get some heat into those tyres. Brilliant, nice move, keep going. might experience some understeer now that you're in the wake of the car ahead. Try to get past as soon as possible. You're leading the pack, that's P1, and Verstappen's behind. They're on fresh softs. Your pit window doesn't open for more than 20 laps. Okay, 50 laps to go. Okay, mate. Right, we've got some clear track in front of us, so let's make best use of it and make the next lap a quick one. You got this. Oh, great stuff. You hit that target. Really good job. Tyre condition still looking good. Understood. Stopping this lap. Okay, one stop to go, just one stop left in this strategy. Nice move, good job. No tyre concerns at the moment, just focus on the driving. The Aston Martin drivers just completed a pass for the lead of this race.